The irony for poor people is they pay more for energy than anyone, because if you can't have a reliable grid, you're basically buying diesel fuel and using very inefficient generation technology. And it's really holding back African countries, even ones that are on the verge of doing well, Tanzania, Nigeria, Ethiopia. The power sector is particularly because of the state role in it, it really is a huge constraint on the positive economic developments there. So I have to understand.
But the foundation doesn't really do energy work, right? This is something you do personally.
We do, yeah, energy that's for the world at large, I will do on a private side. If I happen to make money, that all goes to the foundation. Any energy solution that's specifically addressed to the poor, the foundation would do. The foundation only has two things it does. We do U.S. education and we do livelihoods for the poor. And so agriculture for the poor, financial service for the poor, mostly health for the poor is the biggest thing we do. But so if we saw a way that they could have energy access, which for them means light at night, refrigeration, vaccines stay cold, fertilizer gets cheaper. If we saw a way to get energy to them uniquely, then we'd be interested.
Dan, you need to be very quick and you need to be very good because it's the last and the burden on it is especially heavy.
Well, just high bar. So Bill, you talked about those 200 crazy people that are necessary. You understand more, as much as anybody on this planet, about entrepreneurship and willpower, making something happen. What thoughts would you have from your own experience and from your understanding of entrepreneurship to apply to people, many of whom are in this room, about entrepreneurship in energy to make the kind of changes you're talking about?
Well, the advances that are necessary here are very based on an understanding of science and engineering. And so the current strength of U.S. universities in those areas is a fantastic thing. And if you look at the breakthrough energy portfolios, Vinod has the best one, but there's others as well. Over half the really amazing work that are those 200 times 5, 200 in each of the directions, of one or two of which will succeed. The U.S. has a huge part of that. And so making it possible for them to get capital, making it possible for them to scale up, having a relationship with China where if they have a breakthrough, the big increased market, that they are not handicapped because of tit for tat trade problems between the U.S. and China. We can create a framework that's very favorable for them. The returns for some of those people, for end node technology, that returns the normal sort of capitalistic market works. When you want to do systems that relate to power generation or storage, we need to make sure the rewards are there. And that is very unclear right now what'll be there. If you look at particularly grid-related generation type technologies, I mean, there's no way, something like TerraPower, there aren't a lot of nuclear startup companies because of the time frame involved. And so you have to think, why don't we have more of that? And what's holding these people back? In the case of solar, actually, solar chemicals somewhat under-invested in, but there's a lot of good entrepreneurial spirit, sometimes combining the U.S. and overseas manufacturing, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So, I would just encourage the people who work in this area that the importance of this is, right at the top. The reason I spend time on it is because I think it is so critical to the environmental challenge and to helping the poorest. Cheap energy is like a fantastic vaccine in terms of what it does for livelihood. So it's great that energy is somewhat more popular as a topic than it was, say, 10 years ago. It's important. We need to keep that trend going. We need to look at, science and engineering skills. Is the U.S. relatively continuing to decline in that? Because that's where these smart entrepreneurial people are coming from.